let's talk about the JBL EON One. Now, I know you don't see a whole lot of it in the video, but that's kind of the point, right? You're only supposed to see the column. Now, there is a 10-inch subwoofer down here with a mixer that you can't see in the picture, but most people aren't looking down at the floor, so this is the primary part that they do see. Now, I purchased this as an upgrade to our TurboSound IP500. Not that I didn't like the IP500, I thought the IP500 worked well. Just some of the things we wanted to use it for needed more mixing capability. Now, I do also own the RCF JMix 8, which has really extended mixing capabilities, but I wanted something simpler. We use the TurboSound for a lot of our trivia shows. Having a nice column array is really good for trivia shows. Kind of gets the speaker up pretty indiscriminate and allows for good coverage throughout a bar with one speaker. But with the IP500, plugging a mic into one XLR jack, plugging the music into another XLR jack, and then having to go into a menu to adjust the volumes and everything, it gets to be a little much. You know, it's a lot easier just to go down and be like, oh, volume up on the mixer on the JBL. Now, I'm not going to show any close-ups of the mixer. If you want to see close-ups of the JBL EON One, go to their website. They have a ton of pictures online about it. I mostly do these videos to talk about how I use something, the functionality, and whether it's worth it to buy it or not. Now, to get down to specifics, let's first start talking about the cover. I am not a fan of the cover that they made for this thing. You know, number one, it's a JBL EON product, which means it's plastic. It's lightweight. You know, relatively lightweight. I mean, you know, can pick it up fairly easy. So I have no problems carrying this around. You know, you start to get to an 80-pound subwoofer or something, yeah, you know, some wheels is just fine. But the way they did this cover is you have to set the JBL EON One on a dolly plate. And then this slips over it. And you have to Velcro the front, Velcro the back, and then on top of that you have 4 of these little plastic clips you have to clip. And to be honest, it's kind of a pain in the ass and very unnecessary. I mean, sure, benefit, oh, you can keep your JBL EON One on the dolly plate and just roll it around. I don't really see much benefit in that, being how light it is. So, kind of a complete waste of money, and I'm not really sure who came up with the design for this thing, but having just, and maybe it's because there's a lip out the bottom, so putting just a standard cover over the EON One. Let me see if I can show you the lip here. I know I said I wasn't going to show you anything, but I'm going to in this video. So the EON One has this weird little front lip. And I don't know if that's why they did the whole dolly plate and cover thing, because a standard cover wouldn't necessarily fit perfectly on there. I do think they put the lip on there for a purpose though, because this is all plastic and it's just kind of compression fit together. So it can get a little stuck in there. And it is handy to put your foot on the lip and wiggle the column free to pop it up. But in the same token, a person could just put their knee on the EON One and lift up. So I realize the lip is there for a reason, but just the whole design thing, it looks like maybe they just overthought it a little bit too much and wound up with this weird case. Now, the only good thing I will say about the case is it has a huge pocket in the back. For the most part, I just keep the power cord in there, but sometimes, like for a trivia show, I can throw a mic in there, a mic cord in there, a tablet for music, you know. That's the only handy thing I can see with that, with the cover, but for the most part, I would rather just have a standard slip-on cover. On to the EON One. I looked at this quite some time ago at a Guitar Center. I was really going back and forth, EV Evolve 50, JBL EON One. There really wasn't that many options out at that point in time. And I think I wound up buying the Turbo Sound IP 2000 at that point in time. And so far I've sold that one. If you look at my other videos on my YouTube channel, you'll know I've been buying and selling column arrays like they've been going out of style. And part of it's just I've been searching for the perfect column array, one that sounds good, has great dispersion, doesn't have feedback issues, projects nicely, and really I've just been getting let down over and over and over again, so I keep rolling through them trying to find a good one. I wasn't necessarily looking for the perfect column array in this. I just wanted something that sounded good, had decent volume for a trivia show, maybe a small backyard karaoke event, and had a built-in mixer that wasn't digital, just a couple mic inputs, RCA inputs, Bluetooth, something to where I could put a couple of mics in and plug a tablet in and not have to worry about having an external mixer. And this kind of fits the bill. I'm pretty sure they designed this for the, acoustic singer-songwriter coffee shop show in mind. But I do think they if they were going to be heavily into the acoustic singer-songwriter market with this thing, I think they should have put a third channel on here and a high Z switch. There is no high Z switch on this thing. And there is no foot pedal jack for, turning your reverb on and off. So I think it's a product they got halfway there. They overthought some stuff, didn't think enough on some other stuff. But for me it works well because my uses are trivia. So I do headphone to RCA into this one, microphone into the other one, works perfect. It sounds good. It's got a 10-inch sub in it, which isn't huge, but I don't know if it's because of the cabinet volume. However they designed the sub component of this, it actually gets surprisingly good bass response. I would dare to say, I've seen other reviews on YouTube for this thing where people are using 2 of these for wedding dances. I definitely think you could use 2 of these for a small wedding dance. Are you going to get the really loud, really good thump on the dance floor? Probably not, because it is still a 10, but it's got really good bass response for a 10. I would use this in a pinch if I rented out all my other speakers. I had 2 of them. I'd use 2 of these in a pinch for a wedding dance up to 100 people. And there might be people that own this that are going to comment and say, I do 150. You might. I probably wouldn't. I would want a little bit more sound than that. I'd probably want my RCF J8s. So decent sound quality, it works good for a trivia show, it does have really good projection. I also rent out a do-it-yourself karaoke package, and this is perfect for that as well because I can, like I said, I can load up into the big pocket in the back, put 2 mics, 2 XLRs, 25-foot headphone to RCA cable, a tablet with karaoke on it, and just give them my karaoke stand and roll this out the door in the stand, and that's it. So it works perfect for that as well, and that was the other reason I switched over to this. I thought I'd be able to use the Turbo Sound for my do-it-yourself karaoke package, but it's too confusing for somebody that's not, really pro audio oriented to start going through menus. You can't send everybody with a manual. It needs to be somewhat user friendly where somebody can go down and be like, oh, plug mic into 1, plug mic into 2, turn volume up. Bam, there you go. I can set this up in the office and give somebody a tutorial when they're picking it up in 5 minutes, pack it back up and have them out the door. And I've gotten nothing but positive reviews doing that. I probably will also use it for ceremonies. I haven't had a chance to use it for that yet. but that probably will be my next step. Now the one downside about this, the IP500 was really nice for ceremonies because you could Bluetooth to it with the app and change the volumes and stuff through the app. Now you can't do that with this, but I really didn't want to get something that you had to use an app for. We'll see how it works for ceremonies. It might not be my #1 go-to speaker for ceremonies, but I'm going to try it at least, and if I have to go over and tweak a volume knob, I have to tweak a volume knob. I probably won't set it up right by the bride and groom, so I'm walking back and forth. Keep it out of the pictures, off to the side a little bit. But we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, prior, I'll have everything sound checked and have the levels up, so it shouldn't be a problem anyways. But I do recommend this if anybody's looking for a column array with an easy built-in mixer, specifically if you're looking for one with a built-in mixer and you only need a couple of channels. I do like the RCF JMix 8 more, RCF JMix 8 more. The cover for it's a lot better. I like having the pole for it. It does cost, I think MAP on this now is $8.99, I think it was $9.99. The JMix is $13.99, so it's a little bit more. But the mixer is a lot more complicated. If you are using it just for yourself, I would spend the extra and get the JMix. I don't necessarily think this is worth the $8.99. I found it B stock for $6.29 free shipping. If you're going to pay around $600 for this, I would say it's worth that. If you're going to start to get to the $8.99, $9.99 price, there's better options out there. But for around $600, definitely a good column array. The height on the array goes above my head about a foot, so I think you could get decent projection. You don't have to worry about it being, too low. But I do have it on the dolly plate, which does make it a little bit higher. There is no real good way to link these. There's no link out to master slave them like there is on the RCF. You can use the RCA monitor outs, I suppose, and just have really long RCAs and go into the RCA of the second one. But I do wish they would have just had a throughput XLR. And this goes back to, once again, I think this was designed for the, acoustic coffee shop performer. I don't think this was intended for the DJ market, because there's not a real easy way to link them. You've got to link them through an RCA cord, not a throughput XLR. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this. Is designed for the coffee shop performer. It's good for the odd little things that you might need. Portable, indiscriminate looking sound system with a built-in mixer. If you have any questions about this, feel free to throw it down in the comments section. And until next time, have a good day. Okay, I'm back. There's a couple of things that I forgot to mention with this. The column does break apart into 3 pieces, and this is a tip with this. When you grab it, wiggle it back and forth to start pulling it apart. I read a few reviews online where people were just grabbing this and pulling up, and obviously, like, you can do that because I said you can put your foot on the lip. But it's way easier if you wiggle it back and forth, and this has slowly gotten looser over time. When I first got this, all these stuck together really tightly, and that's a big reason why I cannot emphasize enough, wiggle it back and forth as you're pulling it up. Because I actually read a review online before I bought this where somebody just grabbed it and yanked, and they pulled it up and smashed themselves in the face with this. But if you just wiggle it back and forth, the bottom one actually sticks the most. But I could see how if you put your foot on this and just started pulling up, like, it's gonna release, and when it releases, you're going to take one to the face. So I wanted to make sure I put that in the video, so that's why I'm editing this in at the end. And also I did forget to mention that the 3 column sections do fit inside, so there's no separate bag for the column. It all fits right in one package, which is really nice. You know, with the EV Evolve 50, you're going to have a second bag for the top columns. With the turbo sounds, you're going to have a second bag for the top columns. With the RCFs, the nice thing is with the Evox 5, Evox 8, J8, and JMix 8, the top speaker does fit into the back of the unit, but you still have a separate bag for the poles, the cables, and the power cord. With the I think with the JBL EON One and the FBT CS1000, I believe those are the only 2 column arrays on the market where everything fits inside of the base. With the CS1000, it still has a separate pole, separate cord, but all that fits inside as well. And so it is nice. There is no spot for the power cord. I guess I should mention that. I mean, I suppose you could wrap it up and throw it on top of the mixer before you flip the lid down, but I do keep the power cord in the case, or in the top cover. I think that's the only thing I forgot to mention when I was recording this video. So I'm gonna go for good this time. Until next time, have a good day.